Broadcasting to viewers in Liberia and across the globe. Hello and welcome to News Today on KMTV. With me, Anthony Kukwe, wherever you're watching us from. We say thanks for joining our news broadcast tonight. Let's take a look at stories making headlines. To strengthen independent National Commission on Human Rights Activities, Swedish Embassy in Monrovia launches development project, donates vehicle and office furniture. Concerned seditions in Margibi County, land commissioner to allege share of lands, but Commissioner Joe Dora denies such allegation, terms it as false and misleading. And the National Elections Commission begins regional electoral conference in Grand Bassa County. Welcome to KMTV News once again. We begin at the National Elections Commission, where the electoral body has begun a regional electoral conference in Grand Bassa County, Buchanan. The conference, among other things, aimed at enhancing citizens' participation in the electoral reform processes in the country. Speaking at the opening ceremony was NEC Chairman Jerome Kokwea.
The Commission's continued commitment to working with political parties, civil society and special focus groups in a consolidation and nurturing of Liberia's democracy through a consistent and effective delivery of free, fair, and credible elections to all hands. Among others, the Commission is mandated under 2.9 of the new elections law of Liberia to propose to the National Legislature for the amendment to and repeal of any provision of the election law. The Commission executes this mandate through a three-segment electoral cycle, namely pre-election period, and a post-election period. Currently, the NEC is in the post-election period, where lessons learned from the previous elections are documented. Strategic plan to guide the operations of the Commission is developed. Electoral law reforms are had, initiatives to improve the capacity of the workforce are undertaken. Based on the NEC experiences from previous elections, as well as observers and stakeholders' recommendations, the NEC developed and launched a new electoral cycle based 6-year strategic plan for the period July 2018 through June 2024 with 5 thematic pillars to include the legal framework, electoral stakeholders engagement, election adoption, education and public information, institutional strengthening, and electoral operations. This electoral law reform process is one of the first thematic pillar, legal framework. A goal was saying that electoral law reform constitutes an integral component of this pillar.
The conference, which brought together stakeholders in the sector, also came up with several recommendations. The recommendations, among other things, called for the change of some elections law, something the Deputy Resident Program Representative of the United Nations Development Program, Violet Baffa, said is necessary and should be supported to the court. Madam Baffa commended the National Elections Commission for the initiative and noted that it will go a long way in the democratic process of Liberia.
The NEC and the government of Liberia to follow up on these recommendations and to seek ways to address the shortcomings identified through the inclusive and substantive consultations. I note that this consultative process has been ongoing for the past few months, involving a variety of stakeholders. These consultations are vital in further strengthening public confidence and engagement in Liberia's electoral process. While this is commendable, I would urge more attention and action in ensuring the participation of women, youth, and persons with disabilities in the country's electoral and political processes. The reform should creates enabling conditions that must be followed by strong action. I encourage the NEC to complete its proposals, taking into account the outcomes of these consultations, as I know you will. I also stress the need to continue civic education throughout the reform process to ensure that the public is well aware of and party to the changes which will be implemented. UNDP and its partners stand ready to continue supporting Liberia in enhancing its electoral process, including through the implementation of the recommendations of the recently completed UN Needs Assessment Mission.
To this development now, Swedish Ambassador to Liberia, Igwin Wathabist, Wednesday officially launched a major project on strengthening the capacity of the Independent National Commission on Human Rights in Liberia. The INCHR is the leading UN entity on human rights and the main channel for capacity building on the INHCR of Liberia. The project, which is supported by Sweden, provided cars, motorbike, office furniture, computers, among others, for the enhancement of their operations.
The importance of being part of something that is greater than yourselves. And I think working on human rights gives ample opportunity of actually being part of something that is bigger than yourself. It's doing good for humanity. It's doing good for your brothers and your sisters. And often it doesn't take that huge step and this huge amount of money. Often it's about a shift in mindset and doing the extra, walking the extra mile. Of course, resources help. I'm very glad that our embassy has taken the decision to go into a partnership. I'm very happy that UNHCR is engaging. UNHCR is the repository of all the work for human rights, and you're doing a great job here and globally, and we commend that. We're welcoming the efforts of the INCR to reach outside of Monrovia and be present in the counties. Monrovia is not Liberia, but given the number of people who live in Monrovia, it's 1/4 of Liberia, so it's an important part. But don't forget the other 3/4. I also welcome very much your commitment to work on gender aspects, in particular the rights of women. But gender is about the relationship between men and women, so there is no space for complacency for men to sit back and think, this is women's business, they deal with the gender issue. No, you need to engage. You need to be the brothers, the husbands, the friends, the sons that actually work on gender as a human rights issue. And you are privileged generally compared to women. So strengthening the situation of women and helping them in their challenges in everyday lives, and let me say this also goes for my own country, it's not just Liberia, makes for happier societies. And you will improve on all the human rights rankings if you do this. We are running a feminist foreign policy. This means that we are trying to bring in a gender perspective and in particular women's perspective in everything that we do, and I talk about it every time I talk, so here it comes again. The support to the Independent National Human Rights Commission and in particular its gender component is a practical expression of the task given to all the Swedish embassies by our foreign minister to work on a feminist foreign policy.
Well, also speaking at the launching program was the head of office of the High Commission on Human Rights, Ochinan Imiloyi, who disclosed that the project hopes to achieve 5 cardinal objectives.
We'll achieve 5 results. And this is the result that we intend to report at the end of 2021 to the government and the people of Sweden for the use of their money. The first is that the Commission is able to fulfill its mandate better than it's doing currently. The second is that the Commission is able to cooperate and collaborate with civil society organizations. So first is the mandate itself. Second is its relationship with civil society. This will be increased in the next 3 years under this project. And the third one is that the Commission expands its regional focus beyond what it is now. This project will ensure that in the next 3 years, the Commission extends its scope beyond what it is currently. This project that is supported by the government of Sweden will also ensure that the Commission strengthens a gender section, a gender unit within the Commission, a functional, effective gender section within the unit. And this gender section would ensure that gender is mainstreamed, not only internally, but externally in the work that the Commission is doing. And the next component of this support is that the Commission operates in a governance structure that is compatible with an A status category, A status commission. That the internal mechanism of the Commission is transparent, that funds are used effectively, used judiciously to achieve the result of the Commission, that the Office of High Commissioner for Human Rights commits to supporting the government of Liberia to fulfill its human rights obligation, not because it is a foreign dictate, but because it's for the good and benefit of the people of Liberia.
Meanwhile, Commissioner Gray Johnson, speaking at the launching program, outlined few achievements of the Commission just over a few time of operations.
Just in 2 months, actually 1 month, the Commission managed to release 54 pretrial detainees as compared to 83 in 1 year. So in 1 month, the Commission has released 54. There is an addition of 18 pretrial detainees that were released just on the intervention of the Human Rights Monitors. The Commission is pleased to mention that with the support from this project, the Commission for the first time submitted a report to international human rights mechanisms based in Geneva. On October 3rd, 2017, the Commission submitted its report on the Universal Periodic Review recommendations in advance of the third reporting cycle on Liberia scheduled for April 2020 in Geneva, Switzerland. The Commission will also begin now to submit parallel reports on Liberia's treaty obligations, while at the same time we will be making contributions to thematic express reports, mainly from special rapporteurs as requested by OHHR in Geneva. And I will soon come to an end. The Commission has received supplies and logistics, equipment, office furniture, stationaries, etc., which will be handed over today. The Commission is delighted to note that we've received 3 vehicles, 6 Yamaha motorbikes, 5 laptops, 9 office desks, 9 office chairs, 9 visitor chairs, 5 cabinets, a stationary supplies, a whole bulk of about $1,000, 3 photocopiers, 7 voice recorders, 3 cameras, 1 camera stand, 7 microphones, 7 shredders, and a monthly fuel supply of 500 gallons. Additional items expected include the 80 kVA generator.
Let's now move over to District 1 Margibi County, where a group of seditions that's concerned seditions have alarmed over the illegal sale of private and public lands in the county. The situation, according to the chairman of the body, Matthew O'Bailey, described the situation as worrisome and needs urgent attention. Matthew, in a press conference Wednesday, linked the situation to the Land Commission of the county, Joe Dora, a claim he has since denied.
Our attentions have been drawn to the rather escalating illegal sales of private and public lands throughout District Number 1 Margibi County by Mr. Joe A. Dora, Margibi County Land Administrator, and his Senegats. His dubious land dealing actions have impelled Joe in the district, victimized many citizens affected with government property, and in an apparel D scenario. Our government, the CDC-led government, must expeditiously tackle this sweeping disaster before this interactable lands conflict intensify in District Number 1 Margibi County. Mr. Joe Dora, County Land Administrator, whose terms of reference have to do with, amongst others, to protect public lands in previously settled land disputes among conflicting parties, is now enduring into the illegal sales of both private and public land. His actions has grossly violated Part 2 subsection 8.1a of the Act established the Liberia Land Authority. Now, therefore, we hereby call on the Liberian Land Authority, Ministers of Justice, the Office of the President of the Republic of Liberia, to speedily investigate all illegal sales of public and private lands in our district and recommend the following. Recommendation 1, to immediately the immediate suspensions of the current Margibi County Land Administrator while investigation is ongoing. So, 2, the subsequent dismissal of current Margibi County Land Administrator Afon Laribot in the factious land act and money collected from the institutions and individuals be entirely refunded. So,
Well, in a sharp reaction to the concerned sedition's claim, the land commissioner of the district, Joe Dora, termed the allegation as false, baseless, and intended to tarnish his high-end reputation, which he has earned over the years.
I think it's naive, foolish to give credence to those kind of people who claim they are concerned sedition. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what they call illegal sale of land. I don't know what they call it. You understand what I'm saying? Because if I'm illegally selling property to anybody, they are law. I think the person should go to the law. So who are those people that are illegally sold the land to, and who is the so-called or sedition? You know. So I don't think I need to get credence to look at people.
Have you in any way sold land to people?
Before I became land commissioner, I'm a real estate developer. I'm into real estate business, and that's the business I do. Before I extended to the office of land commissioner.
Among their claims against you, they say you receive a rare pickup from a lady for a
I
passport.
think those that say that are very foolish and stupid. Take this from me. If I did anything against any human being, they are law. They got court. Let them go to the court. I don't think any stupid human being need to come out to tell me I'm not prepared for that kind of foolishness. Now let me tell you what happened. We got people in the country who claims that they are Liberian, which I think they are not Liberian. Because if you are a Liberian, the first thing that should come to the back of your mind is your country first, not your personal gain.
In a related development, Mr. Dora has threatened court action against the concerned seditions of Margibi County for injuring his character.
I think every Margibian should be happy and be grateful to see what Joe Dora is currently doing in Margibi as land commissioner. This is the first of a count. Put me on record for this. Margibi going to benefit 5,000 more structure.
To your instrumentality?
Through mine. As I speak to you, I'm flying to Casablanca Friday morning, and I will be in Casablanca. You understand what I'm saying? By the time I return to this country, that project going to kick off. And people feel that, yes, they feel insecure. That when the guy doing this thing, we need to do something to damage him. You understand what I'm saying? Because we're not secure. Things that we're supposed to be doing, the guy is doing it.
So do you see this as politics?
It is. It is. Absolutely. Completely. It's complete politics.
Why do you think they could be bringing politics up against you?
Because they are not capable of doing what I am doing. And because of jealousy and insecurity for themselves, that's why they are doing what they do. And they think they could damage me. Trust me, they cannot.
Are you feeling distracted by this?
Absolutely. Not at all. Not at all. I am focused. I am focused. And I tell you this today. People who think that they can come and get on air and call radio stations and what have you to play with Joe Dora character, you have to be very careful. You have to be mindful. Everybody cannot take things lightly. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to take this with anybody. I'm just looking for his evidence or one human being who can come out and say, yes, I say this. You understand what I'm saying? I believe in the rule of law. I think Joe Dora is focused, doing what he thinks he needs to do to benefit Margibi, because I'm a born son of Margibi. Born sons. My mother, father, my village is just next door.
As part of efforts by First Lady Claudia in ending infertility in Liberia, 2 Liberian journalists have been granted opportunity to participate in a safe edition of the Merck Africa Asia Luminary in Accra, Ghana. Presenting the official invitation to the journalists, that's the Chief of Staff in the Office of the First Lady, thanked the female journalists for their professionalism and re-emphasized that the role of the media in ending stigmatization of people living with infertility in Liberia is essential.
After the summit in March, we will discuss how we will go by it. It starts in by many things. Everybody has to be involved in the fight against infertility. That's why we started a media campaign training here, because you are the press, you have a great influence on society. Everything passes through you. The message that you pass to society is extremely important. Therefore, you play a crucial role in this campaign. That's why we hosted the media training on May 27, yes, at Boulevard Palace. I hope everybody was there. Everybody was there. So during that media training, you discussed about the possibility of an award. Everybody has to participate, and they taught the journalists mostly how to report on that issue that's still very taboo in our society. And we had 2 outstanding ladies who have been really good at campaigning for the infertile women. And we have namely Miss Howard Dolly and Miss Never Lomo. And we thank you so much for your involvement and for your commitment in helping the First Lady in this fight. The First Lady, she represents the voice of all Liberians, so everybody can bring their contribution.
Well, speaking to KMTV News at the office of the First Lady was one of the beneficiaries who will be traveling to Accra, Ghana, and another person who has already benefited from initiative of the First Lady office.
I took the interest and wrote my name, and later we will send invitation by email to attend the workshop at Boulevard Palace. So normally for me in life, I just took interest in gender advocacy and also domestic violence. So from there, I decided to call my colleagues from the county so that they could find out to see whether we can find people of such. So first I called to bring to that toast on the OKFM correspondent and gave her UT. So I told him he made some connection with some women having this problem, both women and men, because it's only women alone. So when I got there, he gave me a platform on the radio station. And I went and hosted me as student guest and I explained what the institution or men about to do to women and stigmatization against women. So it is not the fault of women or men in Liberia that will be stigmatized for such reason.
I want to say a very big thank you, because this initiative that she is taking is a very, very huge one. So I just want to commend her and say a very big thank you. So I went to India on this opportunity from her office, and then I was selected by the school in India to study clinical embryology for 3 months to be trained. So it's just to assist women in reproduction, because if you don't conceive in Liberia, like in the world at large, if you don't conceive, it's a huge problem. People like, oh, should I conceive? So I learned a whole lot. So now.
Well, with that development coming from the office of the First Lady of Liberia, Claudia, that's how we go home on this May week edition of KMTV News Today. But before we go, let's recap our headlines. To strengthen the Independent National Commission on Human Rights Activities, Swedish Embassy in Monrovia launches development project to donate vehicles and office furniture to the institution. Concerned seditions in Margibi County linked land commissioner to alleged sale of lands, but Commissioner Joe Dura denies such allegation, terms it as false and misleading. And the National Elections Commission begins regional electoral conference in Grand Bassa County. We say many thanks to you for always joining our news broadcast from across the globe. On behalf of the entire news team here, my name is Anthony Kuku. You can also visit our website at www.kmtvliberia.com for more news and information. Until we're back here tomorrow with more developments, do have yourself a pleasant good night from Monrovia.